Welcome, 8th graders, to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this lesson, so let's just jump right in, shall we? Today we are exploring the Godly Learner's Guide to Reading Fluency and Purpose. We're going to master a literally game-changing skill that every great reader and communicator uses. You see, really good readers, they don't just stare at a page and read every single text the exact same way. No way. They purposefully change their reading speed and their tone based on what they're actually trying to achieve. Think about it. You wouldn't talk to a tiny baby the exact same way you'd shout to your friend across a noisy football field, right? Well, your reading, whether it's out loud or just inside your own head, works the exact same way. To really anchor our lesson today, let's take a look at this beautiful biblical truth from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." What's incredibly interesting here is how perfectly this applies to our reading skills. Just as there's a time and a season for everything we do in life, there is a proper pace and a proper tone for every single text we encounter. Our main goal as godly learners is to figure out the season, or the purpose of what we're reading, and then adjust ourselves to fit it perfectly. Let's bring this right into your everyday life. Have you ever completely ruined a recipe because you read the instructions way too fast? Imagine casually tossing in a whole cup of salt instead of a teaspoon just because you were rushing to get those cookies in the oven. The stakes of bad pacing are very real. I mean, rushing a recipe is a total kitchen disaster. But on the flip side, imagine dragging slowly, word by word, agonizing word, through an incredibly exciting sports article. You would be bored to tears. Understanding how to pace yourself basically saves you from both disaster and total boredom. Okay, so here is our game plan for today. To handle all these different situations, we are going to learn how to match your reading pace to your purpose, understand how expression totally changes meaning, and make purposeful choices about your speed and delivery. Mastering these three things is exactly what's going to transform you into an incredibly flexible and effective communicator. Think of reading exactly like driving a car. You wouldn't drive 70 miles per hour through a winding, narrow neighborhood, would you? Of course not, that's dangerous. You adjust your speed depending on the road ahead. If you're reading directions, that's our narrow neighborhood. You absolutely have to slow down to understand every single step safely. But if you're just previewing a chapter for a book report, the open highway, you can confidently hit the gas and skim for those main ideas. The road always dictates the speed. So, we've talked about speed, now let's talk about tone and feeling. Listen to this simple phrase, first with absolutely no expression, in a totally flat, robotic voice. Stop right there. See? It completely loses its urgency. It sounds like I literally do not care at all. But what if I read it with the firm tone and intense urgency it actually deserves? Stop right there! Suddenly, the meaning is crystal clear. Expression breathes life into the text. You really have to feel the words to make them mean something. Now keep in mind, adjusting your rate and expression isn't just some cool party trick for reading out loud. Your silent reading benefits from this too. Slowing down your internal voice for complex ideas drastically improves your comprehension. In fact, I am intentionally slowing my speaking pace down right now because I want to make absolutely sure you grasp how important this is. But then, when you're just speeding up for a review to find a quick fact you already learned, well, doing that saves you a ton of time. Being intentional about your pace, even in your own head, proves you truly understand the purpose of your reading. Let's put this into practice with 3 real-world scenarios. First, imagine you're reading historical documents for a major report. Your purpose here requires a slow, careful, steady pace to ensure absolute accuracy with all those names and dates. But what if you're reading a funny short story to your friends? Your solution needs to be dynamic. You speed up for the chaotic, lively scenes and then slow down for dramatic pauses, maybe even changing your tone for different character voices. Finally, imagine you are desperately trying to find one specific quiz answer in a massive article. You increase your speed immediately and focus strictly on skimming and scanning for those keywords. See how naturally your voice and pace shift when you know the goal? All right, 8th graders, here is your challenge for this lesson. I want you to really test your newly learned mechanics of prosody and fluency by tackling these 5 homework questions. We're looking at why pace matters, how expression changes meaning, and I even want you to write 2 sentences of your very own to practice delivering them differently. Feel free to pause the explainer right here or just grab a quick screenshot to jot these down. I want you to really push your communication skills to the next level with this. Now, let's take a step back and tie all these mechanics into the core philosophy of the HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners series. Romans 8:6-7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. It's an incredible promise, right? And it is something we get to experience firsthand as we engage deeply with this curriculum. Because just as you purposefully and intentionally guide your reading pace, you must intentionally guide your mind. Keeping your mind spiritual brings true, lasting peace. And this illustrates exactly why we firmly intertwine biblical morality with your academic education in this series. Education without morality will hurt. I want you to really, truly think about that profound truth for a second. What is the actual point of being incredibly smart, mastering all your reading speeds, and becoming highly educated if you just continue to make bad choices that end up hurting yourself and the people around you? Being intellectually smart without making moral, godly choices only leads to pain. Academic excellence and biblical morality are not separate subjects. They absolutely must intertwine to build a successful and peaceful life. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with one final, deeply important question to carry with you. How will you adjust your pace and keep your mind spiritual on your journey today? Whether you are tackling a dense history textbook, sharing a hilarious story with a friend, or facing a really tough moral choice, always remember that you are in the driver's seat. You control the speed, you control the tone, and you control the spiritual direction of your mind. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this vital lesson today. Keep practicing, keep making those purposeful choices, and I'll see you in the next explainer.